Whiskey and White going all the way.
What up, world? Welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey and White Show with me, your host, Tommy Mac. And I'm still on my own. Tyrone is over in camp in Germany getting ready for his big fight, the 7th of December. Tickets are available right now. McKenna versus Dylan Moran. It's going to be a war. Very exciting show. So if you're up for the trip, make sure you get down there. If you live there, make sure you get a ticket. You have no excuse. And this episode is brought to you in association with our King's Competition page. Make sure you get on, get yourself a ticket. Cars, houses, holidays, the lot. Don't want to miss out. And make sure you get on to our Patreon page. A lot of bonus content there. It's £2 a month. Bonus footage, bonus laughs. You'll not be disappointed. So today, we're joined by a very special guest. This man is the host of the Bear podcast, runs his own competition page, and undefeated white collar boxer. Mr. Owen Mallon, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having me on. Quite an intro.
This is your second appearance. The first appearance wasn't really an appearance on the podcast, but it was the face-to-face.
Hey, was that? Tell me, how funny was that?
That was brilliant.
You boys trying to hold that together between them or two. He just was actually. It was. I was in stitches, and then we were trying to be quiet back here when Malone and Shooter were going at each other.
It was too funny. Like,
jeez, they were well fit for each other. Hey, and you know what? Are all said and done by Chris. He stuck it to it.
Like, I actually texted him after, and I said, you know, you have to be proud of yourself because you get stuck clean in the Malone. I thought Andy Malone, and when the fight first got announced, I thought Andy Malone would have just cleaned Shooter out, just because he's too big and an athletic background and stuff.
But
Shooter get wired in there.
I think Shooter done a very, and I think that you see it in him. The man's a workaholic, so I think he got stuck straight into it, and then he's working with Ryan, and like you knew at that point. I was like, you know what? He's putting the work in. He's not going to show up, but you have to admit, like at the start, you're like, this fight's never going to happen. I thought it was all promo. I thought. Same. Then Malone come at me about fighting, and I laughed because all had come about, and he's like, Paddy's looking to fight you, you know. I was like, is he? Fuck, I don't mean Paddy yet. I know, but he's looking to fight you. I was all right after a while, you know. Me and Paddy were sitting talking. The fight was all agreed. No, next thing he goes, "Go on, I surprised when you said you wanted to fight me."
It's just on here, I know.
But you said you wanted to fight me. He goes, no. Malone went to Paddy and said that I wanted to fight him, then come to me and then said Paddy wanted to fight. And I was like, fuck, I was surprised when I heard you wanted to fight me. So no, that was good out of crack. It was good out of crack. But no, it's good to be back on here, and she was following along. These boys are flying.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for coming back on as well. I don't think I've spoke to you since the fight. I haven't seen you since the fight. How do you feel the fight went for you?
Look, I haven't said anything after the fight because I was like, Jesus, no, I don't get into it. And I know Paddy's obviously been on pods talking about it, but it was the blink of an eye. And I'm laughing because I was listening to Shane the other day and he was like, oh, he dirty joked me, right? I watched it back and I was like, Jesus, I had it in my head.
You did dirty joke.
100%, right? But in my head, I swear to God to you this here now, right? I was like, bell comes, I'm coming out aggressive, right?
Yeah.
I had it in my head that I'd be back in the corner and I'm out. No, did. And I was like, oh shit, that does not look good in my life.
Do you know, well, obviously is that your first fight? So you're all over the place, emotions and all. And you'd already touched gloves at the start, so
no, but
it was because I think that kind of set the tone. Was I watching, man? What the fuck? I thought they were mates. Because he went out and played on again, and you just went whack, boom, and then that was it.
I had said this because I worry about this. Like, I played senior rugby for about 19 years. I played all junior. Like, competitive. It brings out a real bad side of me. I don't know if it's a bad side. It helps the business up thing, but sometimes it can look nasty because it wouldn't have mattered who. When I was there, I had full intentions of killing them.
That was
I have absolutely no bad blood, Paddy, at all. And I don't know how to describe that to some people that's not competitive. People that are competitive will know 100% what I mean.
Yeah.
I never do anything half. So when I was there to do a job. The other thing was, the whole build up to it, I loved it, like, but I didn't get too involved in it. Like, I says, Dean Kelly was my coach, and I says to Dean, no, I come at him, I was 20 stone at the time, and I messaged him, and I says, look, hey, I need something, I need to start back training here, and then the fight, and I says, I'm going to commit to this, and he says, Jesus, and that's that, you know, and I was like, oh, no, right, we'll give it a rattle. I said, post nothing online, we'll just work away, because nobody knew then. And I was like, let them thing, and we'll see, we'll rock up. But the one thing I do is I will compete till I can't anymore. But he had said one thing. I says, look, I want to put this to bed. I'm going for the rattle straight out of the thing. And he says, I tell you what, you get 1 minute out of the gate. If you hear me shouting composure, you pull it back, you calm down. I don't want you making a balls yourself, punch yourself out, and then you're done. 2 seconds later, I could hear him shouting. I was like, that can't be right. That can't be right.
But you didn't feel too bad. It was blistering pace, as you said.
But so then we slowed a bit, and I was like, I wish I had just kept the foot on it.
Yeah.
And
well, it kind of did. I thought you did.
But no, towards the end of the first round, the second round, then the third round, the ref come over to me after the second round and goes, want a piece? And I goes to him. I was obviously in the heat of, why the fuck we have just want a piece?
At the end, the ref said that.
He goes, want a piece? It was a fucking bottom all right.
Well, I thought, so watching it from, obviously, because you have a different feeling when you're in the ring, but my opinion, the first round, you dirty told him, and then you won the first round, you were all over him. Second round, I thought Paddy, I give the Paddy for he kind of kept his composure on you were applying a prizer, but Paddy was picking you off as you were coming in, and then the last round, you upped it again.
But it's funny when you say that, right? So when I was watching it back, see, at the time, I didn't think I got hit. So I genuinely...
Did you watch it back?
So I watched it back, and I was like, I didn't think I got hit. So the young lad, the videographer, told me, I goes, Jesus, he did hit me. And then the thing was, the adrenaline was up. You didn't think. Second round, and then I was like, Jesus, he come over and said this to me. And then Dean grabbed hold of me, and he says, Owen, calm down. I says, don't you worry. I says, 100%, I ain't going out here to the shop. I said, I'm not stealing this. But that was just it. And that was the way. But I watched that. But here, we're all talking about this. Remember when I turned around, I says, halfway through the first round, when I was piling it on, next thing, bang, I took a headbutt. And I says, what? That's what riled me up a bit. When I got fucking hit,
was it? I can't remember. Was it an accidental clash?
Where do you see the clip on that? No, but I didn't throw anything back. Paddy threw a couple of shots on after, and it was all good faith. Me and Paddy were still besties, but it was all. But I seen back saying that about someone else, would you rematch? And he's like, that tactic of. I see the one thing I knew. I am fanatical about boxing. I love watching it. Like, so the one thing I do from weight training, from rugby and previous things, I have a wild long reach.
Yeah,
I have a good deadlift because my arms are very long, my legs are short. So I knew that I would have a long reach. And there's boys 6'2", 6'3", you wouldn't have
the reach.
So I turned around and I said,
you were lining up with the job and then
so a lot of
big back.
So a lot of the power shots we were working, I goes, see in the start, he'll not adjust quick enough. I'm going to just start sending them down. And that was the plan, and it went the way we sort of thought at the start. But as you said, it made the adjustment of the thing, but I knew I was more aggressive. Like I knew rightly I would be more aggressive because that just from rugby or anybody that watched, that's the way it was. But the only thing I'd say is, boys, I love boxing. I would watch boxing. Or see all these ones that do this once or twice and think they're boxers. Like, the discipline that would be required to do that at any what you boys do is mental. That was what I don't think they went to 2 minutes, but that. Boy, that takes some toll on you. Like.
So, have you any interest in doing it again?
I'd love to do it again for Charlie, and I would love to give it a good rattle.
Would you like a rematch with Paddy, or would you like to fight someone else?
Rematch, there's no problem. I ain't seen it differently. All joking aside, and this isn't the deal, but I about 20 seconds into that fight, I looked and I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm gonna win this. This man doesn't want this. Like, and I don't know whether that's somebody. You're not in the fight. Maybe you know fighting. I don't know fighting enough, but I just sort of thought at that point, I goes, oh, this is mine. Like there's no way in my mind I could conceive that.
I know what you mean.
There was one. I remember just one.
You feel it. Yep, I've got this. But then obviously that's your first fight, so you haven't felt it. But then there's times you're going to go, oh fuck. But
it's so similar in rugby. It's hard to describe to people that aren't into the competitive combat style physical sports. They see that they're testing yourself, putting yourself in a position where, like I've said this, 99% of the population will never know what their fight or flight is. They'll never know what it's like to be in a thing.
Yeah, because they'll never face it. Yeah,
I used to love about rugby is like I used to go out nervous the night before. I'm like, Jesus, what happened? I fold, and you never did. You stood up and you put your shoulder in, and you knew then you had that grit in you. So like I've tested myself time and time again. I've been taking big tackles where you get that white blank and you're starting to respond automatically. So like, but the discipline to do something like that in the same sport and apply yourself and put yourself where you have nowhere to hide, there's something very gratifying afterwards where you're like, hey, you can say what you want.
There's no buzz like it.
But there's people that have never done anything like that, and then they comment in boxers, they comment if they win or they lose, and I'm like, just be funny. I wouldn't comment on anyone because you've never put yourself in that position. You'll never test yourself in your life to see that position. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that aspect of it. What a real 100%, no bar. I don't see it being, I see me
you want to fight someone else
being better. I see me coming back better. And I 100% think if we just kept applying and kept pushing, I would have finished that. That's where my head was at. Maybe because when somebody says to me, one of the judges gives their way, I was like, what? I was like, what? That wasn't a unanimous. I go, Jesus Christ, I must have been in a different fight.
It was a split decision.
But like, then, as you said, you're maybe viewing that differently, and then Paddy's in that fight, he's maybe viewing that differently.
Boxing is so subjective. It's not like, in rugby, if someone scores a try, it's a try.
Yeah. And like even as you say that, as you're scoring a fight yourself and you're watching it, like I love an aggressive style fighter. Sometimes people like the showy box, the Mayweather, the counter, the nice work. Or sometimes I like people that take the center of the ring. They like the aggression. That's so
it all depends what the judge likes.
So and so probably that is it. But I 100% would. And like I know afterwards we went for a pint and I was talking to his wife, and his wife goes to me, "Geez, that wasn't like the ones before, And I was like, I was embarrassed because there's a bad side of it, that competitive side. Like you just go bananas. Like,
so when did he start playing rugby?
Jesus. So this is the thing. So I grew up in a very large nationalist housing estate. Everyone played Gaelic. Played Gaelic. There was no and like I'm a bit older than you, boy. There was nobody played rugby then. That wasn't like, it's not like it is today. So I wasn't built for the Gaelic. I was built for to play rugby, and then I just seen them up training one day, and I says, you know what, I'm going to go and do my 11 plus. I want to go to a school, and I arrived in one day and said this to the folks, I want to go over to the Rainy and McFalt, they play rugby, and like this wasn't conceivable. Everyone went to Holy Trinity. Nobody went to mixed school or went to play rugby. Next thing, started playing rugby.
And had you never played rugby before you made this decision?
Well, I watched it, just
watched it, and you wanted to have a go,
I was going to go and play it, and then when I went, I played some of the Ulster underage stuff. And
so what happens if you had went to the school and you never even got picked for the team?
It didn't matter. I only lasted a year. They kicked me out. I carried on badly in that school, and then they got rid of me.
But did you get a chance to play rugby? Well,
and then I went and played in Dungannon then, because then I got the bug for it and loved it. And as I says to you, as a young cub, like you'd be a massive advocate for people getting disciplined, because it plays in your life in different ways.
Definitely.
And like it's very hard for people that aren't like that. I don't know what I'd love my boys to box. I don't know if I'd like to play rugby. See my body now now I'm finished. Like it's hard to describe to people, but like you go through some punishment, and I'm not 100% sure that I'd want that for them now, because there's bits of me even for that training. You're I know nobody come into a fight right, like
but definitely, like I never played rugby, but I know the injuries that the lads go through. And
well, now it's moved to different gear. Like them boys now, you're going to see them boys, they'll have double hip replacements. They're the level it's at now. But it was getting that way towards when I retired. I remember we used to go down and play like student teams, and used to be like, we're a country team. You're like, we're going to go down, we're going to muscle them about. I remember showing up to the dub there a couple of years ago, just before I retired, and these boys started walking past me, these clubs, 20 years of age, and I was like, who am I bullying right here? I'm going to get the shade knocked out of me right here. But no, it's definitely changed. But so I started playing it and I really enjoyed it. But like this is the thing, I got you get like a bursary to buy boots and some of the kit. And I remember coming home, boy, I was buzzing. I had the kit on. I was coming home running in the house, because you can't wear that around here.
Where are you from, man?
Cookstown.
Yeah.
He goes, you can't wear that around here. I says, I earned it. I fucking wear it. I'll take what's coming my road. And that was it. But it's completely changed now, thank God. Like it's a sport that I love, and I love the way now that it's united people, that it really is going that past. It's nothing involved. Boxing's been like that for years. Yeah. Boxing was one of the, I'd say, the first sports like in Northern Ireland where people were like, they don't care. Matter, it really doesn't. But rugby took a while to get there, and I think it's getting there. So
yeah.
But I think, Jesus, when I think back to it, but now I'm glad I'm retired. I've seen
like,
some
rugby. I don't know any teams around here. Never played it. It was never in school or anything, and never really followed it. Just in the World Cup or the Six Nations or whatever, when Ireland wins, just everyone just supporting them.
Yeah.
But the great Sonny Bill Williams, I didn't even know who that is. I'm ashamed to say. And he was fighting. He's boxes too.
And he was good enough boxer. I think he won.
He's 10-1 at a minute, but he come over. He was doing his camp here about 2 years ago, and Pete Taylor was training me at the time. He says, "Oh, I've got spar for you. You want to spar Sonny Bill Williams?" And I was going, "Who's that? A rugby player?" And I was raging. I was like, why has he get me rugby players to spar with? And then I went, looked, and he's like the Ronaldo of the rugby world, and a big giant unit, and what a guy. And he can box well. He's 100% brilliant fella.
He is, as you say, he was a superstar when the game, like the game's not long professional, but he's a big name. He fought Butterbean, didn't he?
Did he?
I think he fought.
He fought Mark Hunt.
The UFC?
The UFC guy, but he boxed him. And he might have fought Butterbean, I'm not sure. But he was over here training for a fight. He was fighting a guy from Aussie Rules.
Yes, I seen that. He was on like Fox 5 or something, and he was retired. I remember seeing that there. But like, he's a physical specimen of a man.
Like. Big giant, like you say, a specimen. And when he come into the gym, the spar day, the place was rammed in, all the rugby fans, and it was like, I felt bad then that I didn't realise, but what a brilliant fella. And just, the crossover from boxing to rugby, it's probably the same kind of mentality, because you're going in the
competition's
way, competition.
I think the biggest thing is the discipline. We do things that are repetitive for hours and hours on the end that are only going to be done once or twice. You run the line out, a move that you're going to do it once or twice. And I think then, like, one thing I learned there, with the next team, which is a small insight, and I hate when these people, I'm not even going to say it because that wasn't the sort of thing, but these people that do these white collar, and then all of a sudden they you see them changing their profile and their blog. You're like, no, please stop that, because I'm older than you, but I fell in love with boxing was my granddad. He was in the war, or he was in the army, and he done a lot of he followed boxing. But on ITV, they used to have the boxing on Saturday nights, and it used to be the fight night. Yeah. And the Nigel Benn, Eubank, Collins, McCullough sort of era was when I had went up. Only a cub, stayed with my granny and granddad the weekend, and then he let me stay up to watch it now. Yeah. And the running joke used to be, what round did he last it? Because I didn't care whether it was only a cub. But then my love for it started there, and my one worry about boxing with the way the influencer type thing goes on is, how do you get a young cub to discipline, not go out with his mates to the pub, not to do this, to run that 10 mile on the Sunday morning, to do all these things with the 0.5% that he's going to make that grade, where all of a sudden now somebody that's making videos for a living can roll in and get 20 million. No. My worry is that it'll erode the discipline. But it's not just for that boxing. Like, they carry that on in life. If you apply yourself like that, like, how many people have you seen that actually had a good career but weren't the most skillful because they were harder working And I seen it in rugby now, professionalism especially, that mentality to there's people that when I started playing with, they were far more skillful than people went on to play for Ireland. But the difference was that the work rate and the professionalism, the way they were willing to go about it was, their discipline carried them on. And that's why I always worry now, what way will boxing be? Because how do you tell a young 15-year-old lad where the mates are going to start heading out and he's now going to go for a run or he's going to go and cut weight or something and everyone's heading down a thing because your man down the road is going to make 3 times as much with no law. But it definitely makes me laugh. Like, and I know Andy and all them was probably planning more fights, and I was like, no, I want to test myself. I want to have a bit of crack, and I did, and I would have loved to have done it when I was cub. I don't think I'd have been any good at it, but I would have enjoyed it all the way through it.
Yeah, you have long arms, and then
the only thing is, like,
you're short, so you would have I'd say you probably would have boxed maybe middleweight, and no, like when you were younger.
But I would have enjoyed it, and I hope for my boys there. Like, I'm one of these. I've a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old and 2 cubs, and they love to box around the house as it is already. But I'd love for them to take a discipline like that, and give them that bit of confidence, because that probably was for me what going to rugby was about. When you're a bit tubbier than the rest of the lads, and they're all big Gaelic players, and they're all getting accolades at home, and then you still know that there's an element of competitiveness in you, but then all of a sudden you're the first person picked on a team.
Yeah,
you've gone from the last person when you're having a 10-on-10 or a 5-on-5 out in the state, till now all of a sudden your name's the first on the list, and people are like, if you're injured, they're like, oh shit, he's not. And it does something for your confidence as a cub coming through school then, when all of a sudden you're
the man.
Aye, and
did you get the nickname Bear through playing rugby?
It was Ogie Bear. I was always called Ogie Bear, and I got that from I was a cub, and then it just sort of shortened to Bear, and then it sort of followed me around, and then I when I was setting up the competitions, I was never on social media. I'd closed my social media. Actually, you might not believe this, and everyone sees me mouthing on social media all the time. There's a part of me really despises it. Part of me loves what it can do, and it's my business, and it's done. But there's a part of me absolutely hates it.
Yeah.
Like I just today, like I was getting messages from people, and then I get shit from people. Well, I'll go. I says I'll start up the competitions, and at the time, our Kings, as you think, our Kings was the OG, and here they were going, and I was buying tickets flat out for, like, there was different cures up, and I was so mad about cures. I was like buying tickets, and I was like, I think I can bring a different element. I think I can bring like a personal element to it, where theirs was like, there's a cure and this is the draw and things. So then I says I'll bring the personal element. So I named it, but it's nearly become to the point where it's detrimental to me, because you put your face to it, you put your name to it.
You're getting tortured.
Now you have to be the one there. And now you have to be the one that travels, and you're going. And like this year, I've been away about 23 times. And like I have a 2-year-old and 4-year-old. It's hard work, like, and it's hard for my missus, because then she's howling down the fort.
Yeah.
So like, it's good. And then the social media thing is brilliant, because like you'll see it, like, well, sometimes, the way sometimes you can't be bored talking to people, you're antisocial. Like sometimes I'm like, people come up to you and you have to just go with the, like, you don't want them going, oh, he's a dick, I'm not buying a ticket from him again, or or I hope he gets beat the next time. You're thinking, but there's sometimes you just can't be bored. But there's other times it's brilliant, because people, like, I get to know yourself, and it's through social media, and you get to create conversations, and you have the people will come up to you friendly because they already know your personality, so they're friendly towards you because they like it. But then there's the other side of it. Some days where maybe you're hungover and you're like,
oh yeah, just leave me alone, toxic. Okay.
But then we started the podcast, but the competitions at the time, then it blew up. Lockdown came. And
is that when you started then, during lockdown?
Just before, and I panicked then. So I went back when I was supposed to make go, but I went back when I was a cub. I went back to, I was doing aerials and satellites. That's what I used to do. That was my game. And then all of a sudden the digital changeover come. And within a couple of months, there was no work. And I had worked every day from I had left school when I was 16. I had worked every day, and my head going, I couldn't handle it. Like, nothing to do.
Yeah.
And then I was going applying for jobs, and people were like, I don't apply for anything. I'd done a lot of door work, which was grand, it was keeping me going, but then I applied for, there was a thing come up one day, and my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time said, you want to go to school, you're clever, you could go back. And I was like, you can't go back, you need to do GCSEs. And I looked online and they says you could.
Did you leave without GCSEs?
I messed about that bad in school, fucked everyone off, teachers, the whole thing. I just couldn't settle in school. Hey, and then I regret it, but I do and I don't. School is not for everyone. The structure of school is not for everyone. I thought I was older, more mature at the time. I couldn't handle being told what to do and that rebellious, so I just couldn't go with it at the time. But it's funny how it comes back around. So I decided I'd go back and do a degree, but I had to do like an aptitude, like a skills test. So they says the one thing you're going to have to do your GCSEs along with it. And that's going to be hard for you because you're going to have to do engineering math if you want to do an engineering degree. And the last math I done wasn't for you. And I remember torturing that man. I mean, torturing him. Like, and he said to me after we met, a nice fella, he was a doctor, but I had tortured him every day. I'd be emailing him, what's this mean? What's that mean? What's that mean? And I got completely into it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing was, he says, I knew, he says, week 2 when you were torturing me, it's like, this boy's either going to start getting his head around this and get going, or he's out. And one thing I don't quit, like, so I was like, right. And then I went on, done the degree, and then I designed an app, and I sold it and made a few pounds, and then I was like, I'm going to set up a competition business. This will be easy. I've seen them. They bought a car, they raffled it. I'm going to make millions. This is going to be easy, right? Jesus. I lost a complete fortune the first week, but the one thing, I was being ballsy enough to come in, and at the time nobody would guarantee the draw. If they didn't sell enough tickets, they would push it back to the following week and then push it back. But I says, no, on Friday these are going. They're going, this header's not doing 3 at a time and he's going to lose them. And I says, do it. And then everyone sort of jumped on, and it was a good time. It was very lucky. But it's lucky looking back. But you imagine you've invested the few pound you have left into the business, and all of a sudden the government's telling everyone that they're going to lock them down. You don't know what way that's going to affect you. So you're sitting there going, oh, holy. I remember, I'll never forget this. I was driving down with a car in the back delivered to a winner down to Cork one time, and the guy stopped me and goes, is your trip essential? I says, if you invested what I invested, it'd be fucking essential to you, do you? So I drove it on down, and we were just kept plugging away, got lifted twice for working through it, and like there's just an ignorance in me. I was like, no, I keep going, I'm going to keep going, and then it took off, and like we've done nearly 80 million in prizes. We've had, I think it's 11,500 winners and 2.5 million to charity, and it's been unbelievable. It's been mental, really enjoyable. But it's very, very demanding. People think it's easy, and at the time when I thought, oh, put your name to it and this would be good, it sort of ties you into it, and you always have to be there. But I love it. But then I sort of was looking, I don't know.
So, but you got a degree in for no reason, in? Or
so,
did you
yeah, but it's the same as I was saying to you about the boxing, right? It helped me design the app because it was a specialism, a degree in engineering, specialism in computers, and then I sort of started figuring at app design. And then I come along an idea and I designed it and patented it.
So you used the money from the app to make the competition.
And the thing is, as you say, I didn't use anything directly related to engineering, but because I had learnt them new skills, I had more confidence in myself because I had this. Not that I never doubted that I was clever, but sometimes when a piece of paper, people think it's a piece of paper, you apply yourself to that and you do that. And I was like, it definitely sort of helped. So then but no, I never used it. What did Jeremy Clarkson always post up? He goes, don't worry about your A-levels. I failed both of mine and I'm sitting there for hours. But so then that's where we started there. And then I said, you know what? I need more torture, so I might start a podcast. And the
podcast is flying.
And I really didn't. I thought it was going to be comedy.
And it ended up being serious.
It ended up. So what had actually happened was I'd done the first recording on my own, and I was like, this is missing something. And I was like, I'm going to. Sean was my best friend from we were 2 years of age, and I said, see if he fancies it. I said, Sean, do you fancy a podcast? Oh, I 100%, no more. I says, meet me out at the thing, the studio. He had already seen it, and I said, meet me out there. And the next thing he arrived in, and he goes, hey, what is a podcast? He goes, we're under water here. He had no social media whatsoever, but it was brilliant because Sean would ask the funniest questions when it come to like social media, so green in things, but it was actually very refreshing in the mindset that he's just asking things. But this year he's now actually full time with the fire service, so it's just me and Moan, and that was very daunting to go on. But we had started, and we said we'll have the crack. And we first thing we done was message every celebrity we could think of to go, none of them wanted to come on. They're like, I don't know, I go in the middle of nowhere. And then it changed. It changed in a way. Then we started interviewing a few people, and then we done one. It was very serious. It actually a guy, Seamus Waits, he lost his son to suicide. A brilliant man. My wife manages a bereaved by suicide service, and as you know in this area, it's just rife and things. But he came on and he gave such a heartfelt pod on, and like you have to think at this point, like you've no training in mental health, you've no training, you're very, very worried. I have my wife Mary saying, do not be giving mental health advice because bad mental health advice is worse than no advice at all. Yeah. And that's what I would say to a lot of, like, you see all these PTs and these life gurus and they're giving mental health advice. And I always be very, very wary on the pod about giving advice. I always say, look, I don't have training. But the one thing is, we were giving it through just real lads asking questions like that. They probably sound stupid till 1,000 hours, but there's men sitting at home. Like, there was one man wrote to me one time, we done one on breast cancer. Lynn, lovely woman, she had like load of brain operations, transfusions, double like she's aware, this woman. So she come on, and I said to her at the start, look, I'm out of my zone here. I'm not that comfortable, but I want to ask some questions, and if they're stupid, they're stupid, but I have like a form of Tourette. Sometimes a question pops into my head and come out with. So then we started asking it, and a man messaged me, and he says, I wanted to ask my wife that. She's going through it at the minute, and I just didn't know how to get around it. And he goes, thanks, or whatever it was. And I was like, it started then becoming something on its own. Yeah. It started happening. Like Seamus's podcast was 14 million views in like a couple of days. And the amount of people that messaged going, I couldn't do this to my parents. I need to speak to somebody. People that had reached out. Yeah. But then that became a different problem, because then we're like, shit, all these people, we need to be linking these people in. We need to be putting, like, also disclaimers. We need to be warning people. This could trigger people. Yeah. So some responsibility come with it then. But it became something on its own then. It just, it took off in that direction. And I was like, is this what people want to see? Is this what they want? And like some of them, you have to sit in and they're not easy. Like,
yeah. How did it feel for you? Do you bring it home or them thinking about it?
Do you know what it reminds me of? And I made this analogy to people before. You ever see Green Mile?
Yeah.
You ever see the way he like takes this on and he goes home and he has to like spew it out?
Yeah.
People come in and they unload to you and they're leaving feeling better.
But you're feeling
but you're
the weight
not.
of it,
and we had to learn. And one time a woman messaged me, she was a counsellor, and she was giving me shit. She was ripping me. She was like, who are you to blah, blah, blah. And I says, I have never pretended to be anybody I'm not. And if I'm doing something wrong, I said, like, first person would say to me is, and I made a lot of mistakes. Like, I have made a lot of mistakes in that. And I says, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not in some crusade like these ones that are trying to make themselves, oh my God, look at me, I'm holier now. It wasn't about that. And like some people might think, oh, it was clout your thing. I don't really, honestly, I don't care. I make my money. And everyone thinks, oh, your podcast is doing well, you're making millions of pounds. And there's not in it.
It's not done all. We were just talking about that earlier.
But it's harder work than people give you credit for. It's far more time consuming. And it messes with your head because you're cutting and editing. You probably know more, and you're shorting things, and you're having to make sure someone's here, and then they're letting you down, and you're giving up your time. And like your wife, your kids is in your ear because Sunday morning you're sitting here and you could be doing. So like it's not, and especially when my time being so restrained. But then when I started seeing that, and like you even see it, like you have people on and people reaching out to you, and a lot of people reach to you privately, and obviously you're not going to share what they say to you privately, but you see that people are connecting it, they're enjoying it. It's enjoyable. This isn't like a business venture. It's more now become something. And I'm not one of these. Jesus, I'm not one of these boys on a crusade. Like I create some handlings for myself. Like even the other week, I made that post about we're doing a wee mini docu-series, and there's we young girl there that's doing the investigative journalist and going to work with us, and we're doing like a wee mini docu-series.
What's it about for anyone who doesn't know?
I have poked the nest here, and I mean I poked the nest. So I basically come on social media and says all these mentoring schemes, these sign up to these mentoring schemes and all, we're going to do an investigation and see, are they scams? Are they a pyramid scheme? What are they? I mean, Jesus Christ, I was twice threatened. People come on and start talking about me. And I went home and I walked in, my wife was like, why do you do that? Like,
but it's for the people.
But I'll tell you the context from behind it, right? I don't need any more to be seen on social media. We're paying millions of pounds a year to be advertised. See my stupid mug walking around Dubai or something. Like, I don't need any clout or whatever people might chase. If anything, I could do with less, right? I don't get any money from it. It costs more. Like you know yourself, by the time you'd weigh it out, like you wouldn't get money. You know what I mean? Like it's not for money. And I was like, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, actually the reasoning behind that there, before people just think I'm a twisted, and I just like started around, because I've questioned it about 40 times. Should I bother doing this? Should I not bother doing this? But we are doing it. A guy wrote in and asked me, could he do a pod? And I says, what's the crack? He signed up for a mentoring scheme. He showed me some of the messages. How you right? He went 16 grand into debt, and they were hounding him. They showed him how to set up credit cards. They were showing him the application, showed him how to apply for PayPal credit. Told him not to tell the wife that in 6 months, if he goes into this, he will have earned this back, and he can have paid that back. He's lent it again in the house. Don't be telling her. By the time you've paid back, you'll be super successful. She'll want you more, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't make any more payments. Cards were maxed out. Went to her. The deceit. She left him. Children were gone, and he went and took a feed of tablets. And he thankfully, he's all right, and they're working at it, and he says he's getting the debt sorted out, but he's worried that our people will fall into the trap.
Fall victim.
And I was like, I am not one of these guys that want to sit on a crusade. You know, you see them on Facebook, I'm a super good guy, I'm going to do this for yous, and I'm like, shit, can I be fucking bothered with this here? But at the same time, what sort of person are you that if you know you have a platform and you know that might help people, that you turn your back on it because you can't really be bothered with the hassle that comes with it? So it was one of those, and like, I knew it was going to be hassle. And then the next thing, I got a phone call from a solicitor firm, right? This is the best one. I don't think it was a solicitor firm at all, but I had a phone call later on that day. We're phoning on behalf of our client. Who's your client? We're not prepared to speak at this point, but if their name is mentioned, I said, so the person you're not going to tell me about, if I mention them, you're going to sue me? I was, what are you going to sue me for? Like, what are you? So, like, this is what I'm saying, right? And then there's our ones posting online, and I was like, but this is the murky water you're in. This is a multi-million pound industry that I've said on a platform that can get millions of views. That I'm going, I believe now, from what I've learned, most of them are modern day pyramid schemes. I genuinely, hand and heart, believe that.
Is it?
So what they do
like
is
these retreats and all, like they help you do.
So the next thing is you'll see the ads on TikTok, and we can help you set up either what it is, brands or whatever. We can help you do this. This is free. And the first thing always used to go through my head is, if I was successful at doing a business and it was making so much money, why would I not just do more of that than take my time aside to start taking these people in? And then they start quoting The Secret and all, and they're like, you know, we were supposed to meet, and this was law of attraction, and are you ready to change your life today? And
do you watch or subscribe to the manifestation and law of attraction?
So I am a massive believer in a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
But I think they manipulate some of that, because I massively believe in that, right?
Because I believe in it too. I haven't manifested what I'm looking for yet, but I'm still trying. But see, in my algorithm, because I've been watching stuff on YouTube, some of the videos come up and they're like, welcome You weren't brought here by accident. I've been waiting for you.
Oh, you're the next. But so, well, right. But here is the thing, right? It is human nature. It's in our nature to want to get rich quick. There's not a single person that wouldn't say they'll take the shortcut to success. But if you're guaranteed success, you're going to do it quick, right? So they play on a vulnerability of people. And they come along and say, I'm going to give you the tools to pay me back. First, here is $6,500. And some of the fees are absolutely mind-boggling. There is, some of these coaches are signing you in till like it's $3,500 up front, £850 a month, 1 year contract, signed in. If you can't get it, we will recommend credit cards or certain credit lines that we'll have the money made back to you. And if you don't make it, that's because you didn't do what we told you to do. And so we've had a lot of information sent over to us. So what I would say is, I don't know whether I'm supposed to name them, so maybe I'll speak with them first and see, but a large law firm in Belfast phoned me up and he says, look, anything you're doing, send it across, we'll vet it free of charge. We'll represent you free of charge. We've had a lot of clients come to us and there's not much we can do. It's so hard to prove, but this does need something. I'm like, even here now, I'm like, why am I poking the fucking nest? But
it's too late now, you can't turn back.
Depends out. Like, I'm launching the grenade in the middle and let them do what they want. But the funny thing is, and I said this here, isn't it weird then they come running? Because if you're a good mechanic, your biggest enemy is a bad mechanic. You want them outed. You want them talked about. So if what you're doing's not wrong, don't be worrying about coming at me.
Yes.
If what you're doing is helping people and you have all the success stories that you claim to have, you don't need to worry about me. Yeah. I'm going to help you because I'm going to weed out the boys that are conning and ripping people off. So like, hey, could I be bothered with? End up with lawsuits, getting threatened. Oh, men are going to beat me up and all. But the one thing they're doing, which is the worst thing, like, coming at me when he puts my back up, I'm just like a shake. Like, so you'd be better saying nothing and I'll hopefully pass by. But no, look, listen, that's the thing. But the podcast now, it's a platform, and that's what I'm saying. See these ones sitting here, and I am a massive advocate in this. Like, somebody was writing shit to me on social media there now about something in Dubai because we had some model on, Mary Louise actually from here, Belfast. She was on represent fully professional, this is what she does, blah blah, and then there's me. Look at I can't deal with you with that wig in your head. Like, right? So the next thing is, but I laugh at this. This is the thing about social media. I'm sure you've had people write shit about you, but I am also sure there's not many men come up and said shit to you besides man, because this is the difference in social media and reality. You're accountable if I walked up and said something to you, but all of a sudden now I can fucking write whatever I want. I'm an executive in a good job, and now I'm going to just take a shot at some man who's trying his best. He took a shot.
I've noticed that years ago, when social media was becoming part of everyday life for everyone. And a couple of wee negative comments, I was going like, why are people being dicks for no reason? But then, like what you're saying, they'll write it online, but they won't do it in person. And I noticed a big time with Chris Eubank Jr. I know he was meant to be fighting here one time, and he was having the press conference in the Kennedy Centre, and he get absolutely mobbed by everyone. They get photos, and Chris, autographs and all this stuff. And then on social media, on Chris Eubank at Dexter and Kennedy Centre, and they're all stammering. But when he was there, everyone was licking his arch.
But it's the same.
And you'll probably be the same when people see you. They go, "Well, come and get a picture."
But but I like that side of it where people are being dead on when they meet you. I grew up in a place that if you try to shit with someone, you even prefer to go at it. Yep. If I went and said about such down in 98, we're going to have that out. So you better be ready to back that up or keep that to yourself.
Don't say nothing.
Keep it to yourself. And I treat social media the same. There's so many people I be on, I'm like, he's a fucking dick. But I'm saying it to myself. I'm not posting it. I'm not that sort of person. I wouldn't actually, people don't trigger me enough.
And see if you do it, instead of just going, right, you're a dick and reading it. You could look and go, you're a dick, and then just scroll on.
No, that's what I do.
But people,
I actually
people
like to
just
follow
can't-
some people that trigger me. You know,
Yeah.
like what's this dick doing now? And then, but like that's probably a flaw in my personality. But I genuinely don't have. I don't go around with hate
I
for
don't think
people.
it's a flaw. I think it's
probably human nature. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, you're not writing it. But like we've had guests on, and like people have wrote to the right shit about me, or that they're tattle. They're writing stuff about the tattle, and I'll tell you how sinister and twisted this world is. Like I one time googled my name in it. I was like, fucking hell, I went down a rabbit hole reading shit. And I was like, Jesus, I'm learning stuff about me I didn't even know. But what I mean was when I was watching that, and then I was like, fuck, I was getting annoyed, you know, and I was starting to be like, this is what people are saying. And then they were Googling. Somebody had wrote, I tried to find pictures of his children, and I can't because I don't put anything on my private life.
But your children?
And then they were like, oh, I didn't even see a picture of his wife. They were trying to say it mustn't all be good there. And I was like, on the contrary, it's because our marriage is good. I don't be posting much of her because she didn't sign up for it.
Yeah.
Now I have people searching for pictures of my children. Like, I don't know what weird thing is going on there, but that side of things is there's a weird, like, twisted thing. But like, as I was saying, like, there's somebody wrote shit about me. They're like, oh, this is what they wrote. They goes, oh, you have this model and all, and then there's you. You look like an 80s PT. This overweight and all. And I'm sitting laughing, right? But I was like, listen, fucking Steve, if you were sitting beside me, you ain't opening your mouth. Because
it's true.
And don't do it on social media. Don't be that maggot that's sitting at home doing it. And I know I've said that a few different times. And it's only now because I think I grew up in the last of that hardened era where, like, you don't care what people say. I don't care. The hair, like, I laughed. So when I decided, and you boys owe me money. You, Anto Garcia, go on a point, 50, that man looks 50. First thing Anto Garcia out of his mouth, me booked to go and watch his next fight, and then the first thing out of his mouth was, there's no way he's 38, this is a spoof and all, and then it's roaring.
So from your, well, to go on to talk about the hair pics, but from you've got it, you actually look your age now.
Well, then there's the point thing. But the funny thing, even in that day, look, listen, no, and I don't care. So maybe people write to, and I genuinely mean this, right? And I said this when Young played, and he's want to know. I'm not even plugging them because there's no. I wouldn't take this. I pay for it because my problem was if it was shit or they done something wrong, I want to be fit to have a go. But if somebody's fucking doing a promo thing for you, how do you have a go when they're like, when you haven't fucking done it for you? So like, there's been absolutely no pro. ND man, and I reached out to him and I was like, you know what? I've been thinking about this here. If anybody thinks Turkey's an option, I was completely bald when I was 19 years of age. I got one transplant, but it was one of like a step of things you're supposed to do. I cannot describe the pain. I've had shoulder surgery, my sinus reconstructed, cheekbones, nose done, all my fingers, my toes, legs, shoulders out. My shoulder's been out 2 or 3 times. Like, anyone had a shoulder out knows the pain involved in that. The pain in that is fucking brutal. And you don't need to worry. No, but you would be fucked because see if you have a boxer skull, it hardens, and your pain receptors for what happens in the anesthetic. So if they harvest hair from the back of your head.
Yeah, so I actually have had a procedure myself, so I have one. But just my hairline, so it was like receding slightly, and I was going, I kept saying, I want to get a hair transplant, and my wife was going, but you ways up. A full head of hair, and I was like, nah, it's going back at the sides.
You had the Batman signal?
No, and then I won a European title, and a transplant company sent me a message on Instagram and says, have you ever thought about having a hair transplant? And I says, funny enough, I want to get my hairline fixed. And then,
how cheeky does that look for that person? They're going around going, oh, his hair's receding a bit.
No, but you know what?
Not till you said it.
I'd been on the thing, so they must have seen that I'd liked a couple of the
good things, man. You knew you were bringing that well home. You're like, I just put the seeds here.
So when the time met, and then they went, right, well, you've won the thing, so we'll give you the VIP package and all this stuff. So it was literally like the corners here going back, and went over, over to England and got it done. But
Were you Harley Street?
no, I forget what you called. But it was only like a minor procedure, so it wasn't like. And then I got a couple of my friends, getting all the crown and everything done.
Well, I'll tell you how mine came about. I don't know, Andy. I went to a live podcast in Flatiron Square, and fella Andy Good that used to play 10 for England, and he looked 20 years younger when he retired from rugby because he was bald when he was playing rugby. And I went to this live podcast, the man sitting with a full head of hair. So the next thing I started painting away, and I was like, Andy, where the fuck did you get the hair, man? I am fucking down with that. And then he turned around and he says, I'll get you sorted out. I have a man. I says, no bar cut. Absolutely. Annie has watched the rugby pod. It's actually one of the biggest sports pods. That's their pod. Yeah. They do like a chop off, and Stephen First, that played for Ireland, he was to be hosting that day, but he stitched me up. He texts Good and says, you make sure you get Burr up on the stage to do the chop off, which is not a pretty sight for anyone, because a chop off is tops off, sinking match. Don't drink Guinness. They're giving me yards of thing. So I'm bollocksed in the middle of this podcast. I wake up the next morning and the hotel phone's ringing. Don't know how I got home. Bollocksed. Hotel phone's ringing. I was fucking 9:30 in the morning. What the fuck? I'm not checking out of here today. Your car's downstairs. What car? Fucking car's arranged from the hair clinic. Your man messaged, man, says, no boy, I left tomorrow. He says, I'm on Fletcher. I'm here in London. I go for a consultation. I arrived in, boy, and your home, and looked at me and she goes, you all right? And I was not great. She goes, I'll make you a bit of toast. Give me painkillers. I was sitting there thinking, wait, someone's drawing stuff in my hair. I'm still swaying from the night before. The next thing was, went and got it done, and they don't do it like Turkey. They won't do them like thousands of grafts in one go. And I don't know whether it's well, his point was that your head will swell up, but some of it might not thing. You're better getting it done on stages or whatever. So I was like, making a few pounds, put me down. I'm in. Sweet Jesus. He's like, oh, have you boxed? And I was like, no, play rugby and all, and scars in my head. And the next thing he turned around, he goes, so basically they harvest from the back of your head. They make 1,200 slices in the top of your head. They get a wee tweezer and they tuck it into each slice. So like it's 1,200 cuts. Anesthetic starts wearing off. Can't give you
wearing off.
So we can't give you any more. But you've become more hardened. You're pain. So I'm sitting there, boy, and my ear starts pounding about an hour to go. And I was like, fucking no more, but no more. I am out. Like, fuck, it was brutal. So listen, that's not to put anyone off, and because it worked for a while. It worked for well, I don't know whether it worked for a while, but like it was better than what was before. But then I turned around and Andy, man, and I says, you know what? And I'm half joking. I'm not half joking. People were saying that, and I know. Look, I played a lot of and played, and I've been on, and you're getting analytics back, and you're like, oh, the podcast has been viewed millions of times, and the competition page, and you're like, fuck me, maybe I will do something here.
Yeah.
And then I says, well, how am I going to go about this? Because I can't exactly. I was in Turkey. I'm going to Turkey this week, and then just at Miracle Grow. So I said, fucking own it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I will massively say this about anything. I genuinely don't care about this. If you put your happiness in the hands of someone else's thoughts, you're lost already. Yeah. And if you do something primarily for you, it wasn't not like my wife never said anything about it or thing from nobody else other than yourself. There's not a man that's went bald that would turn around and say he wanted that. A woman can get her ass or tits or lips or eyes or anything done now, whatever.
Yeah, no one says anything.
But it's become a norm. Like if a girl goes and says, oh, a woman opens a flashy new or a clip-in extension place in the street, 100%. One goes and gets his hair and the shit comes out. But I thought I'd have got a lot more shit, I genuinely had the likes of Paddy putting on a white. All people that know me, that I would rip the piss out of anyone. So like I am for game, and I knew I was for game for people that know me. So like I'm in a WhatsApp group with ex-rugby lads, and there's nothing we don't touch on each other. Like we will give each other dogs abuse. Yeah. But it's funny. It only dawned on me afterwards why it wasn't a big thing. Because all of a sudden then nobody gave me that much shit, a wee bit of shit online, but I put a head in the mask. I'll tell you about that in a second, but I didn't get that. And I was like, what's going on here? And then it dawned on me. Some of them are bald or balding, and they don't want it.
Yeah, so they want to get it.
in an ideal world, if nobody's going to give them shit, they probably would have went and got that done.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get it done. And it's not that cheap. Like, you have to get it changed twice a year. You have to get it.
So does that stay on all year?
Oh,
and
so,
you just wash it all normal?
It's natural hair with, well, the grey's not natural, but I could have went full. And I was like, no, let's make it look a bit more realistic. Like, but you know, the only thing is, it's the sheer change. Like, I've never had thick hair. I was 16 years of age, didn't have thick hair. And all of a sudden now you've got a wig of hair and you're like, Jesus Christ, I have to wash it, shampoo it, condition it, treat it the same.
Do you take it off? Because
did
you watch
oh yeah, have you seen one of the clips of
on
them?
Netflix about the Menendez brothers? And one of them has a wee hair piece that clips on the skull. Is that what yours?
Well, no, this new thing they're doing now, like them hair systems they do now, like you could literally, I don't want you to say, but my children have tried it. You could trail me, the actual demo video, they put a boy on the skateboard and they just trailed him around. I've been in the rally car in 25 degrees heat with a balaclava on. Oh Jesus, I'm not even joking. See, the first time I went to do the rally, it was 25 degrees and I was putting the balaclava on, pulling the helmet on, and I was like, shit. And I take this fucking thing off, there's a live interview. Let's be fucking stuck to the inside of it. But I've been on a jet boat out in Dubai on it, in the water. I go swimming, take my cub swimming, and you know, you're lying, sleeping on it, you're racking about on it. And the only thing is now, if I went back to play rugby, now I'm not hateful of a fucker that if somebody I knew round thing, I would swim right around and give her a pull. Like, so I'm sure I might get that treatment of it. I can't go back, I'm done now. But
so how does it stay on? Is it just glue?
It's like a glue system, but I mean, whatever way it is done, like they're brilliant. It's husband and wife, Andy man up in there, and I'm plugging them because they were brilliant throughout it. And then they goes to me, oh, can we use the video? And I goes, fucking tear away, because I'm going to have a hard time fucking hiding this. Just rock up by. And it took a bit of getting used to, but I laughed because I turned around and I says, in a month's time, you'll not remember the way it used to look. It's only people that haven't seen me in a while and then they see me and then they're thinking, but it's funny, I was out at the weekend for the first time round, you know, in Cookstown. I haven't been out round there because I've been away working, and people are standing talking to you, looking up. They're not actually looking at you. They're trying to be super discreet about it and all. They're like, oh yeah. Just like, Jesus Christ. But 100%, and like, this is why I'd say it to anyone in this here. If you want to do something for you, don't be sitting. If you're worried about how other people view you, you're a prisoner of their thoughts, not your own.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Like, I went on it, so this boy wrote, oh, this was brilliant. So this boy wrote, going, I can't take him serious with that hair, right? So I clicked on his profile, right? And I'd be a wild man for this. Like, there's the business now, and there's advertisers, and there's people, and they're all giving you advice, and they always tell me their main advice, their main problem is me, probably, because they're always like, don't do this, go and do it. Don't say that, go and say it. And this boy wrote, can't take him seriously. And I clicked on it. He's talking about a draw, and I clicked on his profile, and he had a set of lugs on him, boy, that put the Dumbo in. And I turned around and I screenshot and put it up, and I says, listen, well, sad lugs like that there, you could hear the fucking door from the car park. Don't you be giving me shit. And it was like 100 people started liking the comment I put on, and it was like a head in the mask, because they're like, if you're going to come for him, you take a shot at him, you may kill him dead, because he's going to come back. And because that'll be the time, I don't take it anyway personal. And I would say to and a lot of people, so they were inundated them with messages, because people are like, you know what, fuck it, you don't care, I don't care. I would say that, you know, the funny thing about it is that people come and take a shot at me. I got a message from a guy that's getting treatment for cancer. And he says, you know what, I've lost enough. I'm going to get my hair done. I'm going to get that done. Yeah. So he says, I didn't have a lot of hair anyway, but he says, I've lost enough. Fuck it. I'm going to do it. And it made me think then. I was like, fuck, you know, life is all about perceptive. Like, you know, it's all right, give me shit. Like, but what happens? I was really badly insecure about that. And then people are giving me shit about that. Like, I'm not like that. And I'm not trying to be one of these, oh, I'm a victim, right? Because I'm not a victim of any. I can handle myself. But I'll give you a case in point of on a perspective. When you think some of the perspective, there's a guy reached out to me about it, and he was in a bad spot. He went and got done. And I was like, my worry then for him was that there was more than that happening. That don't pin your hopes on this fixing, you know, maybe speak to somebody, blah, blah, blah. And we've exchanged a couple of messages, and he seems to be flying. But fuck, if you give him shit about getting it done, I'm not sure how you would handle that.
Yeah.
And I said this, and everyone always says this, be careful what you think. I remember we had a winner, very, very substantial, very large, one of our property winners, right? And the way it works is we'll fly them out, and it's good for the video. We fly them out with the video, we interview them there, because these competitions are fixed, they're fucking fixed. Yeah. And I was like, well, what am I doing with these people? Like, where am I getting these out of? Like, so it's good. We fly out and we have the crack and thing, and this guy was like, oh, I can't do that date. Can't do that date. And I was in the office going, that's fucking assholes want a fortune. And he won't even fucking fly out to the thing. Blah, blah, blah. No, I can't do that there. No. So now I'm getting thick with this boy. And I've been short a wee bit in the messages. And then eventually it's like, oh, we're going to take the money. Wouldn't even come to see it. I says, this would really help me, blah, blah. And they would meet me. So I flew over to them. And I was turning and burning. And I was like, I'm giving them fucking half an hour and I'm out. Right? I've arrived thick. I'm like ungrateful bastards. Not that they have to be grateful to me, but their luck was in, they won, right? That it's not
they me. Be appreciating
it. Running around going, oh, we've done this and changed it. And this is Arbolics people. I've changed so many lives. Fuck that. I set this up as a business. I'm a businessman. No, but it's nice and it's a class part. But people run around like they're fucking heroes. It's a lovely part. And phoning people up with that there is the most underwhelming thing, because half the time they're in shock and you're like, fuck you fucking dick. You fucking phone me up and tell me I'm fucking lose it. Like. But they're in shock, and you have this common perception that they're going to be dancing around, they're going to be maybe when you meet the actor, but I'd be like, fuck. So I got thick. Flew over to meet this guy. Went in. I'm like, we're going to do this here, blah, 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 blah. And the next thing he goes, look, can I have a good wee first? Sat down. We weren't trying to be awkward. The wife's not well. And when I was talking to them, none of their prayers was answered. Winning the money. You think this is the perceptive. I thought their prayers were answered, their life's changing. It was half a puzzle for them. Yeah. The real, I've got speaking about it, the real life changer was what a doctor was going to ring in and tell him, not what I was going to tell him. So you think that everyone's situation, I'm calling him a wanker, and look what he's dealing with. Who's the fucking wanker? I made money in the draw. It's all went well. He's won. And I'm running around giving off about this man. Yeah. And it's really changed me now, and I try and be like that, and you don't, everyone always says you don't know people, you do not know anything is going on. Be careful what you say about anybody.
100%.
Perceptive, your perception of what they are and the reality of what they're going through. So I thought this boy, he's just being a fucking asshole, when really he's going through hell, and I'm just the fucking annoying prick that's trying to get him to fly to Spain in the middle of the whole thing, that, so that was like a very humbling moment. You think all your thing, but that's what I'm saying to you. Like, it's lethal ringing up. The best I've ever heard was, I'll never forget it. People ask me the best. There's some real good stories of how people went on and up for you, but I rung a young girl one time, and it was a lunchtime they're on. She won a Dyson Hoover, like one of these V10 Hoover. Holy shit! My man got one of them out. Dog, you walked out the lane like I'm talking about the dollar. I done some laughing. She was buzzing, hey, and I was like, and then you ring up and you're like, oh, you've won £70,000, and they're like, oh, right, no bar. Hey, I'll get you them details over later, and you're like, I don't want you to kiss me, but fucking, and like. It does, but then you speak to them later and it's settled in, or then somebody actually going, look, is this a piss take? And all, I went back on, but is this a piss take? So you have them there, but it's good crack. But
anyone, somebody does win like a big lump sum, do you just deposit in their bank straight away, or
no? So there's a couple of the stages in this, and because a lot of it's alternatives, we don't have to. But to keep ourselves right and keep them right, we recommend they seek independent financial advice, for the simple reason is, if somebody won the option between a villa and 350,000, and I push them into 350,000 because it's financially better for me, and then in 6 months' time they'll turn around and go, oh, I'm taking him to court because I should have took the villa. So you want them to and plus you want them to tell the world what a great guy you are. Like, it's their choice. I go worst case scenario. The competition is what's the dearest end of it for us. That's it there. And this is now your win. Celebrate it. Take your time. there's no rush. Some people, like, they give them 24 hours, they give them 48 hours. That's their business model. That's okay. For me, it's, you take your time, because when you get to that point, what you want, you'll go and tell the world and say, one, they were well led on. They let me choose. They flew me out. The last time they wanted to come back, so they made a decision on video. We had to hold the video back because they weren't 100% convinced.
Was it between money and
then they want to come back? I said, look, listen, 100% come back. This is a once in a lifetime decision you're making, and I'm asking you to make it half an hour later, because I don't care. I'm out the door, like, So that there side of things, and then you do a test payment of £1 to make sure you've got the bank details, because it'll be a bad job. Hey, that one. And then you have to phone the bank because they don't send that.
Do you pay tax on the
if you receive a cash alternative, it's tax free.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. So like, look, to tread in the murky waters, some people are like, why did they accept that? So if it's a Spanish property, you're still in line for tax over there. It's not tax free for them. So like, the property then will have tax implications over there. It may affect you here. It may push you into a different bracket. If you take a cash alternative, it's tax free. So that's why sometimes the more financial sound. But also, I said this to somebody one day. They're like, why would they take that over that? Say you're in 20 grand of that. You get that phone call. Boom. You're down on your knees. Yes, the property might be worth more, but have you the money to maintain that, or wait out 6 months? You're getting hounded here now. You can't afford your own house here. You don't know where the next meal's come from. And all of a sudden somebody says, before Friday comes, you want to have that bang in the bank. Like, it's each situation.
Yeah.
I've seen people that have taken the property and then I've spoke to them since, and they've resold it, and you want to see what it's went up even from when we purchased it. So what it's gone up. So like, the price they won at the time is actually now worth even more money as it went on. And then some people then have taken the property and they're keeping it, they're renting it out, and it's been accumulating value. So like, it's see, when I sit back and talk about it, or sit back and think about it, like, I'm just thinking the next thing. And like, this is what I'm saying. People are like, oh, I've been changing people's lives, and I've been doing. You're a fucking businessman first. You're thinking, right, what's next? Where can I go next? When you take stock and sit back a wee minute, and you're like, shit, I've been on this whirlwind for 5 years, just praying it's not going to stop now. But
do you have plans to stop them at any time?
No, we have plans to change and progress, and then probably all the rest of them will copy me as well. But but you're always having to innovate, no matter what it is. Even the lottery innovates now. They change the dates. They're into the Euro Millions now. They're changing up the lotteries now. It's once in a life. It can't. No business model can remain the same without. So you have your competition, which I think is good, is thrived upon, and then there's a handful of ones that do it. That, like, I know users. I like our Kings, and I bought a lot of tickets from them, because to me they were they got what it was. I got from them what it was.
So
it was the raffle, it was the punt. Just doing about it now. I know, but like, so I decided to go on to do the property. I decided to risk it and go a different road. We don't do the same things. We're not in the same. This is what I would say to people. There's like,
genres,
if every other competition company closed now, I go on to make an absolute fortune. If I closed and every other one closed, our Kings go on to make fortune. But there's a few others would be bollocks in a month's time, because they wouldn't know who to copy. They wouldn't know. They don't have directive. They don't have innovation. But that's why I say, look, I really enjoy it. I do think we'll have to evolve. My biggest worry about it is that if we become more lottery, like the cheaper the tickets, the 99, the getting the more and more lottery, like, then why would people not do the lottery? The reason we started was because it was a punt and it's a raffle, and you really will know someone local that's won, and there's be people that's watched this that won. I massively worry if we come away from that too much, because it leaves you. Are you a Paddy Power website? Are you in competing directly with the lottery? That's the worry, and it's always trying to find that balance of give the people a punt, make a few pound, and keep it that thing. So that's the challenge that you're always trying to face with it, and then, like, you go out to Spain, and then the next thing you look around, and everyone's in Spain, or when you start doing something, then you look, you go and do it probably, and then within 2 weeks, 3 other people's doing it probably.
Yeah.
But it's the age old, like, and I always say it's if me and you were standing at the edge of a cliff, and you're going to jump you in first, see how deep it is, and I go, no, don't go you, and then you jump in, and I see it's only to your chest. I'm like, right, good job, boom, I'm in. It's easy for me.
Yeah.
But it's tough for you.
Yeah.
So it's being that first person scary sometimes. You have to try and innovate, but the prize will get bigger and bigger. And if you get the wrong thing now, why, close your doors. Close your doors.
Yeah.
But no, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving doing the podcast.
Yeah. So is that your main passion, would you say?
My passion, I see it like a hobby passion.
Yeah.
And for anyone that's there that thinks, oh, Jesus, he's trying to, and another thing, and a lot of people have wrote this too, that I am trying to somehow exploit these people and do this for there's no financial gain in it. If anything, it would probably cost me to do it. Genuinely, you'd know, like, you know what it's cost to. I'm doing it there in a studio and trying to do best, and I'm putting the people into it and putting it out to, and it's just the manners that's involved in it, but I enjoy it because it's bringing value back. It's helping people. Like, some of the messages I got, Jesus, like, and I've said to you before, I'm not one of these people that's run around to do that, but there is a wee party that likes that when somebody says that your thing, there's a party that likes that. It's not what I set out to do. It's not me trying to say that, but I do enjoy it. And there's a part of me would love to quit social media altogether. Altogether.
You can't.
You can't. You can't. It's thing, but no, but you might get me back another time. We go to do another boxing event or something.
Yeah, definitely. Well, obviously,
if anyone's out there fancies a wee charity thing,
who could we fight?
Somebody was putting names to me and all. I was like, oh, Jesus, maybe not him. Oh, Jesus. And you know what? Actually, stupidly, and this is out of stupidly, I'm ballsy enough to think, but I can't remember who it was put forward to me, and I remember watching a video of him training. I was absolutely not, that fucker would knock a dung out of
Who was it? Do you know what?
I think it was that big boy, Roe Boyle, is it?
Roe Boyle,
yeah, but and there's no disrespect. I know Paddy
has a
for him, but
what do you call it?
But
background. I
watched him, and I was like, he's well within his ability here. And then I watched him when he went to fight Giddis, and I knew I knew rightly. I actually genuinely, that's what I say. Colin's a big lad. I seen him. He's training up in Fraser. I see him place I was training. He was training with Conrad, and he's a big lump of a man. And I was like, fuck, this would be a good oil scrap. And then the next thing, I seen your boy, was it Ronan boy? Seen him coming in, and he had trimmed off from the year before, and I goes, fuck. And alarm bells were going through my head. I goes, because he knew what he was doing before he started. Yeah. But he's obviously put effort into this one, because
Rose has a fighting background. He's done a bit of kickboxing and MMA, and big Conor Gaddis, big lump, and he looked decent on the pads, but his fighting was jiu-jitsu, which is grappling, not striking. Do you know what I mean?
But it's what we were saying to you about boys that actually have boxed, and you know, like they're breathing, like the techniques that they're using, like they're not going to spark out through the middle of the thing, because they're breathing, they're used to fighting, they're used to doing it. So like when you're coming into white collar, your adrenaline's going through the roof. Everything you've learned, your breathing's going out the window, you're holding your breath, you're biting down, you're doing stupid things. But when you get somebody who knows what they're doing, they're going to be there at the end. Like, and I knew, I genuinely, I was down at that there, and it was good old crack, and it's a brilliant thing that they do. They put on there in that comedy, or the comics. Brilliant, and it's a deadly production as well done. Like, and I know they're not doing this year, but it was brilliant. And I went down to watch it, but then the next thing, I seen your man come in, and he had trimmed off, and I was like, fuck, because I knew he could box rightly. Yeah, and I was like, he's taking this seriously. And that was no disrespect to it's not even a dig or thing, because I know he'd fought before, but I genuinely thought the last time he fought, I was like, he's sort of going through the motions here. He could turn it up if he wanted to, but when he come in and they're a bit down, I was like, fuck, I wouldn't like to be standing in front of that there. That fucking...
So your next fight, anyone but
Oh no, you know what? Like but this is what I'm saying. These boys run away now thinking they're boxers and they're going to box and fight and everyone. I'm just like, no. But no, I wouldn't. If it was 100%, it was for charity, and it was better crack, because it once I buy into doing something, I'll not give up till I do. So that's it.
Good stuff, right, bro? Thanks very much. Listen, in the words of Tyrone, we've talked enough shit. But folks,
hey,
thanks for
good luck to
watching.
him.
Yes, Tyrone, 7th of December.
That's
You're going to
going to
head
be
down
tasty.
it,
Hey,
down to Waterford.
aye, that's going to be tasty. I know they were talking about making that all-on fight before, and then Tyrone taking the long thing. I think it's sort of give him that. I know he's gone away to make sure he gets away from it. Just give it that bite, hasn't it?
He's buzzing for it.
He knows he has to go. He's going, so I like it. I'm looking forward.
It's going to be a great fight. So, folks, make sure you get their tickets. They're available now. Bird's going to be there. I'm going to be there. And thanks for viewing. Make sure you hit the Patreon. It's only £2 a month. Check out The Spar on BBC iPlayer. And like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell everybody. Thanks for watching. Peace. Whiskey and weight going all the way.